Hi there, Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. Today we are going to be working on another form of a stepper card. This one being a dimensional stepper. And it's just a little bit different than we've done before in the way it connects and the sizes that we're using. And I'm playing around with some new designer series paper that was just available this last Tuesday because the new catalog went live. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are down on my desk and we are playing around with a new in color. This one is Peaceful Pine. So this is one of the ones comes in the new magnetic stamp cases. And we are going to mat that on Blackberry Bliss, and then we're going to use the Moonlit Flora. And I have not purchased the Ferns bundle yet. It's on my wish list, but I don't have it yet. So I kind of flipped through what I had, and I started out with just this. Couldn't even tell you where that label came from. I'm sure it's something retired. It was in my scrap drawer. And then the You Make a Difference. This is the Service Essentials. It's the military set. I just really liked what that said, but then I needed something to accent it after I had that on. So I whipped out the Springtime Seams. And so that's what I'm going to do this time. I found out the Springtime Seams has a die that will work perfect for that. So we'll be able to make a very similar label. We're going to go ahead and do the ladybug, and then I'm going to use this detailed leaf. Now it's not a fern leaf, but I thought it was a little similar to this one, kind of more so than the other ones I had in my drawer. But I'm just making use of what I have while I wait for myself to work through my wish list. You know how that is. We always want more than we can afford. Okay, so the card base itself starts out 5.5 by 11, and then it's scored at 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8.5. And then we're going to just kind of accordion fold it, zigzag. We're going to alternate. We're going to start off with a mountain, and then we're going to go valley, then we're going to go mountain, then valley, and then mountain. Okay, and this is going to give us 3 different heights in the front. The gal I watched it from was from Australia. She used a 12 by 12 and she had it 6 inches wide. So as I made the steppers, I realized this isn't going to fit in an A2 envelope. I mean, I suppose it could if we did an 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 as our taller one, and then just made this one shorter. But I really liked the height that this one gave. So it kind of fit in a 6 by 6 envelope. You could make one. I've got a couple of videos on how I've made envelopes in the past. But I just really liked the height on it, and it displays really pretty, and it really shows off the designer series paper. So it's a little bigger than an A2, but every once in a while I do those. And it, like I said, it can be adapted. The faux stepper card would have the right height for the taller and shorter ones. Okay, so this is 11 inches by 2 inches, and it's scored 1/2 inch from either end, and then scored at 5.5, which is the middle. So this one's going to have the 2 little pieces on the ends, where this is what we're going to use to connect to our card. Okay, and then it's going to fold in half in the middle. Okay, this one does not have those attachments. This is just an 8 by 2 scored at 4. So this is going to be the shorter of the 2 columns. I have some mats that are going to go over it. So I have the 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. So this would be 5 by 2. This would be 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. So this is 5 by 1.5, 5 1/4 by 3/4, 5 by 1/2 inch. Okay, these three are going to be what we're going to put along the base. So I'm just going to layer them up. And then they're going to go on the front 3 panels here. Did anybody place their order yet out of the new catalog? What were your favorites? As demonstrators, we were able to order almost a month and a half ago now. They said the reason why demonstrators are now given a lot more leeway, like they can order sooner, is because they wanted to see what the demonstrator base was most excited about on their initial order, so they could place the order for additional products if something sold better than they thought it was going to, so that they could have enough in stock by the time Customer Live happened. And I think they did pretty good. I know they were initially out of the in-color ink pads as I thought they might be, but they did get them back in really quickly. They were in the same day, which was kind of exciting. Okay, for the pillars that are going to go upright, the mats on that are, this is 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. So this would be 1.5 by 4.5. And then the shorter one, the Blackberry Bliss, is 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. So this would be 3.5 by 1.5. And like I said, they're going to go onto those pieces that are going to be our uprights. Oh, I've got a cursor on the screen again. Sorry about that. I have to click things in order to make it all go live and show the right cameras and all that good stuff. And I don't always remember to pull that off the screen. That's great that they've shipped already. Because I had the class and the paper shares going on, I actually paid a little extra, and mine arrived yesterday, which was pretty exciting. So today I've been very busy cutting out paper shares and my Winnie the Pooh class, so I can get that in the mail. All right. So this is going to be our base. Then I said we're going to decorate this a little bit. So I'm going to bring in some soft seafoam. That's what this is. And I'm going to be cutting the top of our ladybug out of that. We're going to do the bottom in basic black, and then we're going to do our leaf in soft seafoam, and then the label out of white. So just a little bit of die cutting. I've got the larger die cutting machine out here, our larger cut and emboss machine, so I can feed it all through at the same time. I'm just going to arrange them on the plate, and then I only have to crank it through once. I'm going to use my take your pick tool in the little ejection holes. And that will help pop that out, but it will also pop out these leftover pieces. And then I absolutely love my magnets from Stampin' Storage, because it makes it very easy to just set everything back on here. And then like I said, I have these all in a bin, and I ordered these off of Amazon. I'll add those to my Amazon store, but they're just stick-on tags, and it allows me to be able to flip through them and see which I'm pulling. And then of course they're labeled with the label maker. I have quite a few new goodies I need to add to my online store. All right. So we're going to do our stamping in Peaceful Pine, but this time instead of using the one from the military set, I'm going to pull something out of here. So pull out our stamps. And what's nice about the clear ones is we can just set it on here and we can try to decide which one's going to fit. I think I'm going to do the You Brighten My Day and then just push it to the right side so that we have more room for our ladybug. So I aligned the stamp on my grid, then the block on the grid, and then I'm going to align the paper on the grid. In theory, all of this will keep me straight. This is such a pretty green. And I think sometimes we don't realize the difference in our greens. So let's see here. So here we have Shaded Spruce, Garden Green, Mossy Meadow, and Old Olive. Those are going to be the closest. And then here is our Peaceful Pine. So it's almost got a little more gray to it when you match it up against the other ones. But when you look at it all by itself, it looks very green. It's beautiful. I think it's going to be great come Christmas time because it's going to be that pine tree kind of color. I just love these little things. I created these little swatch books. They are for sale in my store, but I use them with my designer series paper when creating my cards. I take the designer series pack and then I look at the colors that are on the back because they're always listed on the back. And then I pull these swatches and then I can create my palette that I'm going to be working with my card here. So that's how I came up with all that. This is the thing I stamped initially when I very first got my set. Then I'm going to put the thinner acetate over it. I'm going to take the stamp we just used and place it where it goes. Then I'm just going to set this on top to pick it up. And then it's going to slide right back into my container. Nice and easy. Okay, let's see. I want liquid glue, I think, for this. So I just want a little bit. I don't want it to ooze out the holes. I just want to make sure it's going to stick. Oops. This is where the reverse tweezers would come in really handy. It allows you to hold on to little things. Those come in our embossing kit. Okay, so there's our ladybug. And then I'm going to have this come from behind. Yeah, okay, that'll look good. Okay, so let's start assembling. The first thing I want to do is put on my taller panel. So I'm going to put some tear and tape along these little 1/2-inch strips. And these little extra feet, I don't know what you'd want to call them, these extra little bends here, just give it a little more dimension. As you open and close the card, it just bends a little more, making it a little more fun. Okay, I'm going to put my taller panel, so I want this one first. I want the one with the designer series paper. And then I'm going to kind of match it up with my score line down here. I'm kind of putting the designer series paper at the base of the Blackberry Bliss here. So I've got a little tiny bit of room there that's just enough to make it so it doesn't interfere with that score line. Then I'm going to collapse the whole thing. And then I'm going to naturally let this fall in place. And then it's going to pop open like that. So see how that little extra 1/2-inch gives it some more, I don't know, bend, I guess. Fun. Okay, and then this one, because I did this on the second panel in the back, this one I'm going to do on the front and this one. So it kind of alternates. So again, I'm going to start with some adhesive on the bottom of each side. We're at first going to peel off the side with the designer series paper. Oh, did it again. I'm going to start with the designer series paper side, and then we're going to match this up. And I'm kind of keeping it to where there's about the same distance here and here. And I'm going to have more over here because I'm going to have my tag kind of hang over. Again, keeping the card collapsed. Oh, I don't want it on the very, very back. Sorry about that. Okay. Pull this in here. Now this is where undo might come in handy, or the heat tool. Sometimes if I need to loosen up some glue, I will use the heat tool to heat it, and that will allow it to pop off, and then this sliding underneath helps. But I wanted that to go right there rather than all the way to the back. Okay, I'm going to start out with my kind of leaves. And I know I want my label to be kind of just above here, so there's just a little bit of a gap. So see, that one's kind of touching the top. And we could use mini glue dots. You can use liquid glue. I mean, anything you want to use is going to work. And I'm going to, like I said, my label is going to go about there. And I'm just going to use straight adhesive. You could use dimensionals. I just don't want to make it any thicker than it already is for postage purposes. Okay, and by leaving that extra bit of white over here, it gives me more room to position my little ladybug. And there we go. There is our dimensional stepper card made using the Springtime Scenes bundle and the Moonlit Flora Designer Series paper. Does anyone have any questions? Remember, that's the point of you guys being here live. It's so that you can ask questions. So again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. We will be back on Monday with yet another fun fold card. So come back and join me. Thanks. Bye.